I had a Post-it note that said, my clients love me, they order from me, there's plenty for everyone, including me. And anytime I thought a negative thought, I would write the Post-it note with the positive one and stick it up there. And day by day, weeks by weeks, months by months, things started to soften, and that cage of fear and worry started to crack and break open.
Hello and welcome to the podcast. My guest is Lori Rogers. She's the president and co-founder of Rogers Marketing. In 2011, Lori was confronted with numerous life challenges and discovered a process called positive activity. Using this process, she experienced exponential growth in her business and in her personal life. Today, Lori teaches her clients how to implement the principles of positive activity so that they can get life-changing results. So please, welcome one of the most positive guests I've ever had on my show, Lori Rogers. Lori Rogers, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you. Thanks, Michael, for having me.
Yeah, it's great to have you on the show. We had a nice phone conversation a little while back, and I felt we really resonate on the same level about a lot of things. And you're all about positivity, and I am about it too. I'm still on a journey of that. It's difficult sometimes to be positive and stay positive, but the benefits are huge, not just in terms of your well-being, but also your performance and productivity. And that's what we're here to talk about. This is the High Performance Podcast, so we'll talk a bit about that. But first, I wanted to ask you a little bit about your background and what led you to develop your business, which is called Positive Activity.
Sure. I was thinking about that this morning, and it dawned on me, and this is a whole nother podcast someday. When I was like 6 or 7 years old, I remember a family member saying to me, a relative saying to me, "Oh, Lori, you're the worrywart of the family, the worrier of the family."
Yeah.
And I was thinking about that this morning. I'm like, whoa, wait a minute. And I always do describe myself that way, but I think it started way back when. And so anyway, the things you say to your children are super important, and that's probably a whole other subject. So I grew up in that essence of kind of a fearful worrier. I had to get all my work done. I had to get my homework done on time. Didn't want to get in trouble. That's sort of the way I grew up. And I went through, I had a fun life, went through high school and college, and, I've been married 37 years. I have 3 kids. But there was always that in the back of my mind, that fear and worry of little events or things that would happen. And we own a business called Rogers Marketing, which is a promotional products and tangible media company, which I love and love my clients. When things would not go well, it would be like, that kind of thing. And then sort of the pot boiled over, I would say, in about 2011. When we were coming out of that, we were pretty much still in that recession. Yep. My clients were either gone or lost their jobs or cut orders or didn't order anything. We had a son, we have a son that was diagnosed with autism, that was transitioning out of high school into his adult world, which was very unsettling for all of us. I had a child home recovering from a sport injury, and just things just started to pile up and pile up and pile up. And it was a lot. And I felt that tightness in my chest all the time, and the fear and the worry. How are we going to pay our bills? How are we going to pay our suppliers? Are we ever going to have any more orders? Are people going to recover? Wow. So while my daughter was recovering from her sport injury, she asked me to take her to a wellness fair.
Okay.
I went, and I'm walking around, and I'm going to the booths, and I'm listening to the presentations. I'm like, wait a minute. Whoa. Are you saying that I can change my story, change my thoughts, change what I say, and create a different life, create a different experience? I was like, how did I not know this? B, oh my gosh, this is cool. So I grabbed a bunch of books. That was in the summer, and I sat in the summer, and I did a lot of reading about it. And I said, okay, I'm done. I'm so tired of feeling this way every day. I'm going to try, and I'm going to start changing my words, changing my story. And I had Post-it notes up all over my office. Instead of saying something I had been saying, oh, we're never going to get that quote, that order's never going to come through, I had a Post-it note that said, my clients love me, they order from me, there's plenty for everyone, including me.
Yeah.
And anytime I thought a negative thought, I would write the Post-it note with the positive one and stick it up there. And day by day, weeks by weeks, months by months, things started to soften, and that cage of fear and worry started to crack and break open. And that's how it started. And then along the way, so that was in 2011, 2012, as the years went on, oh, that's 12 years ago. As the years went on, it's a daily practice. It's not like I'm recovered or anything. It's so funny because someone said, oh, Laura, you're a recovered worrier. I'm like, yeah, no, I'm not. It's a daily process to change that thought, to change those words, and to tell a different story. And I did more reading. I learned so much more. So I've accumulated so much information and learned that many of the practices that I do or I teach, recommend, are scientifically backed. I'm like, oh my gosh, they've researched this. How can I not tell people and let people know this can happen for them too? So that's how it all started, and sort of the background of it. Yeah. And that's how positive activity was created.
Okay. Yeah. So you discovered the power of positivity at a later age through your daughter having this injury from sport, brings you to a wellness fair. And you're like, what's a wellness fair? Right? You see, it's like, oh, this is a whole thing, like wellness, where you focus on positivity, focus on proactive wellness, healthiness. And it was like a revelation in a way for you, like, oh, I can, there's another way, there's a different paradigm. And I like what you said about like the cage of fear. So I was brought up to worry. I think a lot of us were. And, I was thinking about this recently of, we're probably a similar age. Like I remember my parents' were, this is like during the Great Recession of the 1930s, when everything was negative, everything was scarce. You had to worry about, where's food coming from? And I think the generations post that were brought up had this paradigm of there's not enough. I need to be vigilant. I need to worry. There's scarcity, there's negativity. So it's almost like a societal kind of paradigm in a way. And I love for you, again, what you said, the cage of fear softened or kind of started cracking open. And that led to just a big positive mindset and your company. And like you said, you're not quote unquote cured from negativity. I think even a Buddhist monk or somebody still thinks negative. The question is like, how do we keep cultivating that?
Right.
Right. Yeah. And so can you tell us a little bit about, okay, so you formed this company with your husband, Positive Activity. How would you explain it to people? If people say, well, what do you do? What is Positive Activity?
Sure. The company itself is a culminate. What we do is there's two parts. My part is helping people to tell a different story, to tell different thoughts and words and actions to help change their mindset, so that their mindset is more positive, is more joyful, is more optimistic, which has been scientifically proven to improve every aspect of your life. So I teach that. And so teach how to do it, the activities to do it and help you get there, why you want to do it, why do you want to raise your happiness level and become more resilient. And that's my scope of it, my piece of it. Neil's piece of it is business development. And he also talks about a lot about his book, Bar Tips, Everything I Needed to Know in Sales, I Learned Behind the Bar. So he teaches a lot of the concepts that are in that book on his half of the presentation. Let's say it's a daytime like a 6-hour webinar or a 6-hour workshop that you may attend. 3 hours is me, 3 hours would be Neil. There's a break and that kind of thing. So that's what positive activity is as a business. When I think about it as a daily practice, I think of all the things I do, and Neil does too, and what I teach to sort of keep me there, to keep my happiness level up, and to keep that peace, calm every day.
Yeah.
So there's many things I do that I tell people it's time, no doubt about that, but they're free, they're simple, they're easy. You just have to make the commitment to do it. And I had to get to the point where, no, I'm worthy. I'm worth it. I can take this 30 minutes or an hour a day or 30 minutes twice a day to do this for myself.
Right.
Yeah.
So it sounds like the core of this, your services are getting people to realize, well, number one, that positivity is possible, because I imagine people come to some of your seminars, webinars are for the first time exploring this possibility. Like, wow, I can be positive. Like, how do I do that? And
Right.
then also it sounds like you cultivate that reason for people to change, right? Like, finding that reason, because you could kind of want to be more positive, right? Like, that'd be an interesting idea. But if you find that real reason for changing and shifting, because you got to do the work, that's the next part of it, is you have these, over the years, found these great strategies, practices, habits that cultivate that positivity. So do you find that some, people you work with, either one-on-one or in groups and companies, that people sometimes don't do the work?
Sure.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. And I find that in my business as well too, is that, sometimes I can get a read on a potential client or a potential company or something, or an athlete that I work with, like, yeah, like I don't see that motivation for, doing the work. But I think there's like, is there some clients you just don't work with because they don't do the work, or is there a way you can get them really stoked up to do the work?
Most times, I don't have a percentage, but once you give your clients the research and the reasons, for instance, a more positive mindset sells on average, 37% more than your mind at negative or neutral.
Yeah. Okay.
You're 31% more productive. You're more resilient to illness. You live 9 years longer on average. And they're like, oh, ding, 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 ding. For the most part, they get that.
Yeah.
But I try to be realistic with them and say, every day, I mean, we're human, right? And we're going to feel emotions. That's what we do as humans. And thank you, God, like we can do that. It's not like bad things don't happen to me, or things that worry me or upset me don't happen. Of course they do. The point is, I've got the tools to recover from this.
Yeah.
It may take me a day or 2 days, but I've got the skills now, and I've got the tools because I've built up my resilience, and I can recover from this.
Yeah.
So that's what it's not like your life is going to be cherries and apple pie the rest of your life, but you're going to be able to work through all of this and feel confident in yourself. And I try to teach people, you are worthy of an hour a day.
Yeah.
A lot of the, I would say, non-practicing, or people that may let it slide, I see their self-love and self-worth is low.
Wow.
So if you can help people build that up, then can flow.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. So it sounds like cultivating that reason more, you'll give statistics on it. And there's tons of like brain science, brain scans, and what happens when you think positive. I mean, it is pretty incredible that we can actually measure it now. So you'll get them stoked up about, hey, the stuff really works. Here's a reason to change. Here's a reason to do the work. And then you also, it sounds like you normalize the that it's not going to be perfect. You're going to have a bad day, but here's all the strategies to get back on track. It's not about always being on track. It's about how do you get back on track, and how do you get back on track more quickly? So I think that could be helpful. I see that in my coaching as well, is sometimes there's expectations like everything's going to be perfect after this coaching. Everything after this positive activity seminar is going to be perfect. It's like, no. Let's give you some tools, strategies, and habits to keep you on the path, because you're human. You're going to have negative thoughts. It's going to happen, right?
Yes, and I like what you said about, well, this is interesting what you just said. The research has shown that our brain works the opposite of what we think. For instance, you just said, oh, once maybe I win that race, if you're talking about an athlete, or I get that position on the team, or I get that raise, I get that job, I have that relationship, then I'll be happy.
Right.
And you might be for a little bit, a day, a month, a week, whatever. But then there's the next goal, right? Or the next thing you want, or their desire. But our brains work, science has shown, in the opposite way. And if you're positive and happy and optimistic and feeling joy and love each day, those things more easily come to you.
Yeah.
So we always think success brings us happiness. The equation is real. Happiness leads to success.
Yeah.
So I try to show people that and tell people that. But that's been scientifically proven. I didn't just make that up. So you know, and I'm sure you do the same thing, Michael. You try to give people reasons. This is why. This is why. You don't have to just listen to me, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
I didn't make this up. I'm just showing you what I've learned, right?
Yeah. Yeah. It's funny how just like centuries of this, because positive mindset's been around for a long time, how finally now the science is showing this stuff does work. We can measure it. And it's almost counterintuitive. Like, I'll be happy when I get that big promotion. I'll be happy when I win that big race. And it's like there's this sort of this idea that I have to suffer to get to this point, and then I'll be happy. But counterintuitively, like the research is showing, that if you cultivate happiness and gratitude, what it does is your mind really literally expands, and you find answers, and you're drawn to people, and you're drawn to positive solution focused outcomes. And it's not all about putting your head down and struggling. And so it's almost like counterintuitive, you know, like why would I be happy and grateful for where I am right now when I'm in debt, right? For example. And it's like, well, you want to get out of debt, you have to have a positive feeling that generates positive thoughts, which generates positive actions, so you can get out of debt. So that's...
Well, I'm sure you hear that a lot. I hear that a lot. I said, okay, well, what did you just do? Did you just call me on your iPhone to talk to me? Aren't you appreciating this technology and that you have this amazing phone? Yeah. Are you appreciating the computer that you're working on where you can talk to me? Do you appreciate the bed you just slept in last night and that you were able to get up and walk on your 2 feet to your kitchen and make coffee? Even though you may be in debt, or even though you don't have the job you want, or even though, you know, your kid is struggling today, you can still find things to appreciate with, you know, and what's beautiful about that is you're training your brain to search for more things to appreciate, because the software in our brain is to look for danger. That's our ego wants to keep us alive and safe and well. And thank you, ego, but I'm good. There's no tigers around. There's no bears chasing me. Right? So what we have to do is try to retrain that brain and retrain the software pattern to look for good things and to look for things to appreciate in our lives. Yeah. That's not our natural.
I think that's such an important.
It's not our natural way to be, unfortunately. Yeah.
We are, spirits in this vessel, and this is the hardware and software we've been given. Like you said, humans have been around mostly as hunter-gatherers and living day to day. And that's kind of what this version of us is. Let's look for danger. Let's worry. Let's be on guard and vigilant. And so I think in providing a lot of education to your clients about that can be helpful, because sometimes there's this mystery of like, oh, it's my fault that I'm thinking negative. Well, yes and no. It's like you said, it's the default. Like if you're hungry, if you haven't eaten all day, you're going to be grumpy. Like, so there's a lot of education about sort of like, yeah, the hardwiring of the brain is wired to look for problems to help us survive.
Right.
And it's so plastic, and you can retrain almost like a muscle, so that after a while, keep practicing the positivity, keep practicing it over and over, that you reach kind of these new plateaus where there's much less negativity. And it's not that the default's never gone, but you've retrained it. And so I think presenting that education on how the brain works is helpful for people.
Good. I know, I love that. And I like to tell people or teach people, I don't tell anyone, but I try to encourage people to treat those negative thoughts like a little child. You wouldn't ever yell at a little baby or infant or child for, certain things or whatever. You would say, oh, okay, well, let's go over here and play now, or let's go do this now, or whatever. So treat those negative thoughts like that and say, oh, okay, thank you for reminding me. I have a meeting at 3 and I'm stressed out about it and I'm not prepared. Thanks for reminding me, but I've got this.
Yeah.
And I'm going to get my work together. I'm going to get it together. And I know I can accomplish that.
Yeah.
And I am also quite a spiritual person, so I call in all my helpers, right? My spiritual helpers, my angels, okay, guys, I give you permission to help me with this, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So
I love what you said about like almost being the kind of the executive of your thoughts, and a lot of people don't notice this, but like thoughts are generated. Like separating your brain from you as a higher being executive, and you notice a negative thought, and you go, oh, thank you thought, or thank you brain for generating that. I'm going to take that under consideration, and thank you. You don't get angry at the thought, like I have this thought. It's like these thoughts are generated automatically. So I love what you said about kind of like that your higher self able to observe things and be kind to some of these thoughts. They're just there to protect you, actually.
So thank you, ego. Thank you for trying to protect me. I appreciate it, but I'm good. And I've got this. Yes, absolutely. And it's a whole shift in your way of being.
It really is. Yeah.
And now a brief message from our sponsor, Rewire Fitness. If you want to have more high performance in your life and you like performing at a high level, you're going to love this app. You can go to rewirefitness.app. That's rewirefitness.app. And they have this incredible app that's for athletes, actually for all high performers, and is really the only one out there that has a sports psychology or mental performance or a mental fitness and recovery protocol in the app. It's the only one that I know of, and it's incredible. It really works very, very well. You can connect it to all of your wearable stuff and track things, and integrates everything. And it's just some amazing stuff for mental fitness. I highly suggest you check it out. If you go to michaelseely.com/podcast, there's a link there for a 20% discount off of their elite program. It is well worth it. Go to michaelseely.com/podcast, click on the Rewire Fitness link, and the code is michaelseely20. Again, michaelseely20.
Yeah, that's amazing. I think we talked about morning routines before when we first talked on the phone. And I do something every single morning. Occasionally I'll skip it, but I write down 3 things that I'm grateful for. And then 3 things that I want to kind of aspire toward, just generally. And I do that every morning as a way to combat the default negative programming that the brain has, really.
Beautiful.
And I did it this morning. I was thinking about our podcast coming up, and I just took a little extra time to feel really grateful for things. Do you have like a morning routine, kind of like a way to prime yourself in the day? Yeah.
And it's ever expanded since 2012. It's expanded a bit. So I'll give you the whole rundown. The first thing I do when I wake up is I grab my journal, make my coffee, go sit in peace and quiet. And the first thing I actually do is go into the bathroom. And I don't know if you've read the book, The High Five Habit, by Mel Robbins. Oh my gosh, your athletes would love it.
She's
And
great.
I
Great.
look in the mirror, I give myself a high five, I say something nice to myself, I look in my eyes and say something kind and nice, and then I go to the kitchen. And then I sit with my journal and I write down three new things each day that I appreciate really quickly and why. And that's where you're training your brain to look for more things to appreciate instead of
Right.
danger, warning, danger, warning. I do a conscious recall activity, which is where you think of something in the last 24 hours that made you laugh, that made you smile, that made you feel good, that brought you some joy. And I write down that experience, I visualize it, I think about it, try to feel those emotions again when I'm thinking about it. And the cool thing about that is your brain doesn't know whether it's happening right here, right now, or it happened yesterday. So your body gets flooded with all those great feeling chemicals and all the dopamine and all that again. Then I'll write an email or a text. This is a conscious act of kindness. It's not random at all. You're actually thinking of someone that you want to thank. Maybe your child's soccer coach or teacher or a peer or someone that works for you or your videographer, something like that you want to thank and why and how they made an impression in your life. And it makes you feel good to do that. It makes the other person feel really good to receive it. And hopefully they do the same for someone else. So you sort of started this ripple effect of joy and love throughout the world, really. It could go anywhere. And so that's is that the third thing, fourth thing? I write down my positive affirmation for the day, my I am statement. And same thing that you're talking about, or what you might want to accomplish or your desire for that day. So I am a great interview this morning with Michael, or some like, and I say it to myself. I might meditate on it and say it to myself a few times. I'll put it on a sticky note, put it up. And then I meditate for 5 to 8 minutes. I exercise every day, but that's like my little morning routine that probably takes a good 20 minutes to do. I try to do the same things. I like try to meditate at night as well. Think of positive things before I go to bed because you don't want to sleep with the 11 o'clock news in your brain.
Right.
There's
Right.
And it is a way of life now where I don't watch the news. I don't watch violent shows or movies or death or destruction. I read a lot of positivity books and joyful books and funny books. I like to watch comedians and laugh. So it's more than just that morning routine. It's more about shifting your way of life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love that. I've been doing my morning routine for a good 5 years now. And occasionally, I'll skip it and I'll notice the difference. And what I like about your routine, or just any kind of positive morning routine like that, really nice and healthy, positive, is that it's enjoyable while you're doing it. And you're continually training your brain to look for positivity throughout the day. So it has that double benefit. It's like a morning exercise for your mindset, your spirit, everything. And so many people don't do that. They just get up. What would you say to someone who says, I don't have 20 minutes. I don't have a half hour to do that. I'm busy. What would you say to them?
Well, I understand. I've been there, right?
Yeah.
I was a young mom. I had 3 kids. I jumped out of bed and started the day. I didn't think about myself, my brain, what I was thinking, what I was doing. I just went into the day. So I understand that. And I get that because I said the same thing. But once I started doing it And once I saw the shift, and also people sometimes don't want to change until they get to that breaking point, right? Like then they will, or then they'll try. So I try to prevent people from getting to that breaking point where they can start sooner than that. And also one of the benefits of being more joyful and optimistic is you're 31% more productive. So you're not missing out on any work time or wasting time, or you're making yourself more productive by doing that. So I try to encourage that and show that. And here's the research study. You read it. This is what it said. So yeah. And I empathize because I was there. I know exactly what they mean. So you got to make a commitment to yourself. All right, I'm going to get up 20 minutes earlier every morning and just do one thing. Do one or two. You don't have to do my whole 6, 7 things. You just do one or two to get yourself started.
Right.
And then it doesn't take much time. Actually, it doesn't take any time to shift that thought.
Yeah.
Right? You could be sitting there typing an email to your coworker or just to your client or whatever and saying, oh, some one of them, they did the wrong. Shift that. That doesn't take any time. So there's many things that don't take much time at all to sort of shift your perspective.
Yeah. So again, you're selling it, right? Like if you do this priming activity, you're going to be 31% more productive throughout the day.
Yes.
And it's funny because people can have a self-perception of being busy and productive while they're working, but if there's a camera on them measuring them, like they're not that productive.
Right.
But if you start with this positive priming and mindset, you have more energy, you have more momentum, more positive solution focused thinking. And if there's a camera on that person, you'd see them just definitely working harder and happier throughout the day, I imagine.
Yes. I love what you just said about the thinking
Mm-hmm.
and the ideas, the creative ideas. When your mind is more at ease and open, start to flow. Oh, that's who I need to connect with. That's who I need to call for that.
Yeah.
And so that problem or that issue or that project gets cut in half because you just got this idea to call that person. So yeah, it's cool.
Well, so this makes me think about what I was reading on your website about the guiding principles of positive activity, and there's 6 of them. I think it's a nice segue to talk about that. I like the one of them, the Festina Lente. It's a beautiful sort of Latin phrase, but maybe you could tell us a little bit about these 6 guiding principles. One, I'll just read them here. One is changing mindset to change your life. Second one, expectation and patience. Festina Lente, like I just said, which is make haste slowly. This gets to priming yourself throughout, you can actually work more efficiently if you slow down sometimes. The next one being always do your best. The next one, believe in the power of positive thinking. And then finally, let creativity lead the way. So could you talk about maybe one of those or some of your favorites of those pillars?
Yeah. Well, I think all podcasts we've been talking about changing that mindset to shift your life and to create a different life experience for yourself. And it can be done. And I love to show people how and teach people how to do that. It's certainly a daily practice and it's a lifestyle change. It's not, oh, you do this for a month and you're fine. It's the rest of your life. You've got to think different thoughts and be in a different mindset. Yes, absolutely. The expectation and patience is if you have a goal or a desire that you want, I hate to use the word want, but that you desire. It's up on your vision board. You've written it in your journal. If you can sit with the knowing of that, with the excited expectation that is coming to you, and have the patience. So the desire of it and then the having of it, there's time because we live in this world of time. If you can sit with the excited expectation and the patience until it gets here, comes to you, that's a beautiful thing. Instead of the doubt and the worry and the fear of it.
Right.
Yeah. So I like to show people how to do that and teach people to do that. The
Right.
make haste slowly. That's something I really had to learn. And slow down and be intentional with your, not just your movements, but when you're writing an email to someone, reread it, be intentional about it. Watch the words that you use, because a lot of the words I was using were accusatory-ish. And no, I'm not going to say it that way. I'm going to say it this way. And just slow down and be intentional and think about your next step or what you're going to do next. Or, all right, how can I solve this problem? Or what am I going to do today to run that race faster? And you might get to the track, be calm and quiet, at peace for a minute, put your track shoes, just be a little more intentional. It's intention.
Yeah. Yeah, I love that. So it's taking an extra couple of seconds really to slow down in the moment, kind of assess, be a little more self-aware, set the intention. Like if you're sending an email to someone and maybe you just had a difficult email exchange with someone else, with another, a vendor or a client, and then you're going and you might have a little attitude to your email. So you're saying take an extra couple of seconds to notice the intention, notice some of those things, because we're talking about earlier, the ripple effect. If someone gets that email from you and you're a little bit grumpy, they're like, what's up with Lori? Then there's that sort of negative ripple effect that gets stuck. So thinking about that being one of your, motivations, hey, if I send something positive, I have positive intentions, that's going to have a ripple effect too. So I love.
Right.
Yeah.
So if a negative email or kind of a snarky email does get through my outbox, I'll pick up the phone and call the person.
Okay.
I will. And I'll be like, oh my gosh, you just won't believe what just happened. I'm so sorry I said it that way. Or I will call myself out on it.
Yeah.
All the time. And it happens less often now, but when it does, and it's usually I'm snarky about something else that happened in my life, and it's nothing to do with this person or this situation at all.
Yeah.
Right? That's usually what happens. So I'm able to I'm just going to pick up the phone and say, this is what happened, and I'm sorry about that. I didn't mean it that way. Move on.
That is so refreshing that people actually call each other now, right? Still.
I'm old-fashioned that way. I am old-fashioned that way.
Oh, but that's great. So like, how wonderful would that be? I get a phone call, right, saying, hey, sorry about that email. I'm like, wow, that's so refreshing. And then that person might even do that themselves. Who knows, right?
Right.
Yeah. Okay. Great. So if people want to check out more about positive activity, there are these 6 guiding principles, which I love. I think they resonate with me a lot. I want to ask you about one of them, which is let creativity lead the way. Tell us a little bit more about that.
Well, when you are in that good, optimistic, positive, joyful space, and an idea comes to you, take action. So take action on a project, your book, your blog, the workbook you're writing, and any kind of project or a relationship. Take inspired, positive action when it comes to you. Because sometimes what happens if we like my snarky email, if you take action when you're down here and your energy's low, you're feeling bad, you're feeling negative, you're feeling annoyed, it doesn't always work out very well. So what happens to your brain when you are more positive and joyful and loving, you start to flow. And that's the time to take the action.
Right. Yeah, you mentioned that also on your website, like being in the flow, and oftentimes this is used in sports and athletics. You're in the zone, you're in the flow. You don't even have to think. It's like you're tapping into something, like just kind of everything is just going smoothly. And so what you're saying is, like, if you get an inspiration of creativity, say in your business, oh, I'm going to go network with this one person because we talked about this, and you get this it's kind of like an ooh, ah feeling, right?
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
It's when I do coaching too, I have people label and identify the feelings that lead them to better results. So like if that inspiration kind of a feeling, and it's almost like the feelings maybe we had when we were a kid, like, ooh, I want to go, play with my neighbor. Ooh, it's like an inspired kind of positive, joyful, creative action. And you're saying like, notice those, because if you're in that space,
yes,
you're going to be doing probably your best work. And sometimes though, have you found this personally or also with your clients? Well, they'll get almost like an audacious, creative idea, and they'll go, well, yeah, but what will someone else think about it? Yeah, but it's that the yeah, but thing. How do you get past
but ruins everything.
Right? Yeah, yeah.
No matter what you say before it, the but negates it.
Yeah.
And yes.
Yeah. Do you have any strategies for people who tend to get that inspiration and this audacious idea, and then they but it? Is there any strategies you have over that?
Yes. What I suggest, write it down.
Yeah.
Write down that idea or inspiration that came to you in your journal, or just right here on a piece of paper, and just let it so you don't forget it. So you write it down. Usually they come in the shower, so you got to jump out and write it down if you have to, but that's fine.
Right.
And sit with it and don't negate it right away.
Yeah. Yeah.
And once you write it down, you look at it. Okay. Such and such. Okay, they want me to call, Susie Crow, and I'm going to do that. And it's going to be a great conversation. And even if it doesn't work out, the next idea is going to flow to me. The next idea will come. And I think we have to stop worrying about what other people think.
Yeah.
And worrying if Susie doesn't think that's a good idea, or Susie doesn't want to do business with me, or so the next person will. We have to stop worrying about what other people might say or think, because you don't know what's going on in their world too.
Yeah.
Right. It's not about you. It's about whatever they have going on in their world. Which is another, I just thought of this, so I have to say it because it just came to me. The book, The Four Agreements, is a great little book that talks about that. One of the agreements is never take anything personally, because it's never about you. Right. It's always about the other person. And once you learn, I was like, okay, there's another 4 things I didn't know that were written in this book, right? My childhood, I feel like my childhood, or I would have been a better athlete if I had known all these things, So yes, so I say, write it down, sit with it, don't negate it, and then have and feel the worthiness of yourself, that no matter how it turns out, doesn't matter. You'll move on to the next thing. As long as you're not hurting anyone, just call, just do it. Just whatever. Believe me, I know. I remember when Cam, my son is booking me. I'm like, oh, I don't do that. I don't know how to, be interviewed. What do I have to say? And it's like, I do the same thing. I understand. I have an ego too, and I get it. So I try to bring examples from my own life and career into it.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. So to combat the but sort of attitude that gets in the way of that creative action is that you capture it right away. So you write it down, right? So it doesn't get away. So even if you're not feeling like, if you have too much doubt to even take action, at least you wrote it down and you looked at it, and now it's documented, right? This great idea. So I do the same thing too. It's like, I tell my clients, can you email yourself? Can you document it somehow? And that is actually taking action on your inspiration, because you've documented it. And then I also like what you said about, instead of kind of the what if it doesn't work out, what if this person doesn't like my idea, you say, well, even if. So substituting what if for even if my potential, business associate doesn't like this idea, I've generated a new idea maybe someone else will like. So I love that even if attitude.
Thank you. Yeah.
That's cool. That's awesome.
Um,
So Lori, I had an idea kind of on kind of spontaneous here, going a little bit off
Mhm.
script of
Sure.
doing not quite a role play, but I want to make up like a hypothetical like a person who might be watching or listening to this, because I have a lot of athletes watching this show. I have business owners as well, entrepreneurs, but a lot of athletes that I work with struggle with sort of like perseverance or patience, right? That thing of just being patient for an expectation, because there's so much pressure on athletes. Like if
Mhm.
we're talking, the Olympics are going on right now, so that people
Oh
who
my
train
gosh.
4 years for a
Yes.
100 dash, for example, right? Like, so I want to invent kind of a hypothetical athlete who has a goal, and
Okay.
I just a quick role play, and I want to be a little bit difficult and a little bit negative,
Okay.
and and just give me either some encouragement or like one strategy, and just for fun. So I want to pretend that I am a let's see, that I'm a cyclist, which I actually am. That's the sport that I love,
Okay.
and I am training for the national championships. And let's say they're coming up in like 2 months, let's say. And I've been having a couple of bad races, but I still have my goal of
Mhm.
let's say winning the national championships. And I have experience. I'm actually physically capable of doing it. However, I've been all season long, I've been focusing on this expectation, this thing I really, really want, and that I feel I deserve it. However, last couple of races were not up to my potential, and I'm starting to doubt myself. I'm starting to think that I'm actually less good than I am based on like a string of sort of not great results. What would you say to me to sort of encourage me to keep, because I'm doubting my goal a little bit. Like,
Mhm.
what would you
Mhm.
say?
So the goal is written down somewhere, right? And it's up on your vision board, or it's on a post-it note. It's around you. You know your
Yeah.
goal.
Yeah.
I would shift my thoughts. Well, first my words and my thoughts about myself. I am a great cyclist.
Mhm.
I am. Use the I am statement, because that makes it right here, right now, because right now is the time that matters.
Right.
And it's not in the future, it's not in the past. Right now, I am
Mhm.
is what will bring it to you. So I am a great cyclist. I wouldn't even think about the past races. Just think
Okay.
about the now and think
Right.
about what you are. And yes, the experiences are great, and look at those as learning experiences.
Right.
What did I learn from that?
Mhm.
I learned I don't want to really feel that way. I want to feel a different way. So I'm going to go to that feeling.
Mm.
Okay. So this is what I would suggest: the I am statements that are positive, write them down, right? Say it 25 to 50 times a day.
Right.
When you say in a positive I am statement 25 to 50 times a day, your subconscious mind goes, oh, that's what they really want.
Right.
I didn't think they did, but now I know. So you're planting that seed. Those I am statements are seeds that you're planting into your subconscious brain. So your I am statement, you've got your goal up on your vision board or wherever else you can see it, and on your mirror, what have you. Visualize it. Can you visualize that goal, winning that race? You're on the bike, you're pedaling as fast as you can, you got your cool like race shirt on, the numbers on your back. See everything, see all the details of it.
Yeah.
Visualize that every single day.
Mhm.
I want to say 30 minutes twice a day,
Mhm.
but
Yeah.
if you're that motivated, you will. And if you're that motivated, you will. So visualize that. Visualize yourself crossing that finish line, being strong, having, drinking your water bottle, feeling good, breathing hard, knowing you did all you can to get there.
Mhm.
So 50 times a day, positive statements, visualizing for an hour a day, seeing yourself doing it and winning it. And
Mhm.
how will it feel?
Mm.
Can you go to the feeling of having it, right? So today is today, the race is in 2 months. So you're not going to win the race today, but can you get to the feeling of winning it today? Yeah, you can. How is that going to feel to you?
Yeah.
Feel the emotion, feel the joy, feel the excitement, feel the pride, and stick with that emotion as much as you can. Because when you believe it and you know it and you feel it, that's how you can bring it to you.
That's
so there's
awesome.
4 little things. There's probably more, but like, and you're okay. So when that doubt and fear comes up, gosh, I can't do this. It's so hard. Okay, say, oh, thanks, ego. Thanks for reminding me that, that's there and it may be hard, but I got this and I'm going to do it anyway.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm going to add one more thing that I just learned.
Okay.
So I'm trying to do this too. I learned that if you say is so easy after your goal. So finishing this race and the time I want is so easy. Is so easy.
So easy. Yeah.
And you say that 50 times a day for 3 days. I don't know why it's 3 days or 50 times a day, but that's what the science has shown us. 50 times a day for 3 days. Then your subconscious mind, I like to call it your unconscious mind, because you're not even aware that it's there, and what you're feeding it, feed it that, and then it goes, oh, okay, that's what they want, that's what they need, this is where they are. Okay, I'm gonna find things that are gonna help them get there. That's what I would suggest. Right.
Yeah,
one other thing, I have a friend whose son on his ceiling in his bedroom, he stuck a poster up there and it said, I will play hockey for the NHL. Or I am playing hockey for the NHL.
Yep.
So now here he is. He played in high school, he played in college, he played in juniors. Now he's out in Ohio playing for what do you call it right before you go to the professionals? It's a professional team. He's getting paid, but it's not, it's like one step down from the NHL, and I forget what they call that league. Right now he's there in that league. But he, a kid that lived right down the street, and he knew in high school to do that. I'm like, wow, that's an enlightened kid. I am playing for an NHL team. So when you're laying in bed, I mean, if it's okay to stick something on your ceiling, go do it and you can see it.
Yeah. So the I am statements again, this gets back to educating our clients on how the brain works. Language is incredibly powerful, and the subconscious mind is actually separate from your conscious mind. Okay. So what it is a way it absorbs stuff passively. And if you expose it and plant these seeds, like you say, it's going to start believing this, but you're not tricking yourself. You can't say, for example, I am, or you could even say this, I am president of the United States. I mean, you could put that on your ceiling as a poster. So let's not limit ourselves. But I guess my point being, like, you have to be like this kid who's playing hockey. Like, he loves hockey. He's got some decent skills. So there's foundation in reality there. So I think has to be there, but maybe not. But those I am statements are really powerful. And again, I'm really a lot about education, because so many people don't believe this stuff is possible. Oh, I just think positive. That's BS. Like, what are you kidding me? But again, it gets back to that brain science that if you visualize, we could do a whole podcast on visualization.
I know, that would be great. Yeah.
That is so powerful that you actually get in this state of you're in your race, or if you're a business person, you're getting all these clients and you visualize it and you feel it, that you start to, any of that doubt stuff gets just drowned out by that feeling, because it's so much about feeling. So I love what you said there, that the prescription for the sort of the doubtful racer, that sounds like a winning formula. I love it.
Good. Well, let me know if you use it, if you suggest it. Let me know how it works out.
Yeah,
The most and what you said is so true. It's the emotion behind the desire that means you can't just walk around saying I am state. Well, even with being I am president, if you don't feel that with desire and emotion, then maybe you don't really want it, right? Or it's the desire and the emotion behind your goal that really kicks it in. I like to say, I have this up on my vision board too. I say this or something better, because sometimes the universe has planned out something even more amazing, right? Than what I thought I would make me what I wanted, or my desire was, or what have you.
I love that, because it's like, okay, here's this audacious goal or something even better.
Yeah.
Right?
Don't limit yourself, right?
So awesome, because I think that's one of the biggest sort of barriers. So if you write down this audacious goal, there's a point where you do have some natural doubts, like, yeah, well, if not that, then I'll go to study to be a lawyer. Nothing wrong with being a lawyer, but like that. Your plan B is a possible different plan B. It's like something even better that might come along because I didn't.
And so think about why you might want to be president. Is it because you want to do things better in the world or in the country or for your community?
Yeah.
There's many things you can do besides being president in your community, in your state, in your world. Think of all these businesses that have been created that are making life so much better for Americans and people outside of America. They're not president, but they're influencing other people's lives. So is that really the desire, to help people to make lives better in your community? There's many ways to do that without, oh my God, I'm getting chills right now thinking about that. To do that without being president. So think about that desire. What is it about that? Is it really that title I want, or is it that I want to influence and help my community, my state, my country, my world?
Yeah. So being open-minded about there's other paths out there. You may be really fixated on this goal and have great reasons for doing it. And like you said, I want to achieve this, or I am achieving this, or something even better.
Yes.
Right? That is so great. That's so great. I want to steal that from you. I think that's a good.
Yes.
Yeah, that's awesome. Okay. Well, Lori, I'm on a positive high right now. This is great.
Awesome.
I'm hoping people watching and listening are catching this positivity as well. It is real. Having a positive mindset, positive habits, positive actions, all the visualization, everything we're talking about is proven scientifically. This is not just us, spouting off here. Like this stuff really, really works. So for people who are wanting to work with you, like business owners, you work with a lot of businesses, I know that. Can they find you online on the internet and whatnot?
For sure. Our website is positiveactivity.net, and you can connect with us right there. And I'm on Instagram, Lori Rogers Positive Activity, and you can connect with me there. We're on Facebook as well. But I would say go to the website, and there's a contact us button, and you can just contact us, and we're happy to work with people, one-on-one, with webinars, workshops, speaking engagements. Yeah, it's really fun. It's what I get jazzed up about. It's fun.
Cool. Well, everyone, definitely check out Lori Rogers at positiveactivity.net. I think you have links to all your social on the website as well, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So follow her on Instagram. This kind of positive, if you love this kind of a vibe, you would definitely want to follow her and get positive and see better results in your life. So again, Lori, great talking with you.
You too.
And I hope to talk to you again.
Thank you.